at any other time in our politics, for my 35 years in Washington, August has been this sort of time to reset. If you had a major thing you wanted to do, you didn't want to do it in August. You waited till September, or you hurried up and did it in July. That's not how Trump rolls, right? Trump just wants, as I say, I call it motion, even if there's no movement, right? He's always rocking the boat, even if it's anchored to the ground.
Totally.
Right? This has been think about the list of stuff that's happened versus how much of it matters, right? We've had two summits involving Russia and Ukraine that appear to have done nothing.
Yes.
We just had, we can work backwards. The FBI raiding John Bolton's house appears to be a weaponizing of the FBI. We've got suddenly the government is Donald Trump version of socialism with Intel, 10% that, the federal takeover of Washington, D.C., a manufactured interview with Ghislaine Maxwell that they released to make it look like they've released something. I mean, it's actually been amazing the stuff he's sort of thrown up there.
Yes.
But in all this sort of noise and nonsense, we still have an economy that's in really tough shape, and I don't know if Trump can distract his way out of it.
Yeah, one of the most famous examples of what you're alluding to, which is a sort of a fascination of mine, has been for a long time, which is this idea that nothing happens in August, was Andy Card famously gave a quote to the New York Times, Elizabeth Buehmiller, 2022, saying, "You don't roll out anything
2002.
Until after Labor Day," talking about the Iraq War.
Right. It was the Iraq War. Right.
You don't roll it out until after Labor Day. In any event, infamy. It's an old cliche in Washington. Nothing happens in August. I actually have written something about this years ago that it's not true. That, in fact, a ton of historic events have taken place in August. But no, Trump doesn't do vacation. He plays a lot of golf, obviously, and takes in a lot of TV. But he's not a vacation guy. He's not going to go with his wife and kids.
He doesn't sit still. Hey, why don't we play Monopoly? Like, my kids love when we're not at home. That's the one time Dad will play board games. Right. But I will.
There's no off switch with Trump, right? It's always on, and so you I think put your finger on it. It's constant motion, and really the point for Trump is the attention, right? The publicity is the point. I always chuckle when his staff says he's the most transparent president in history. Well, yeah, because the point is to get attention every day.
Right.
And so when you want to be on TV every day, that's going to lead you to go face the cameras every day because he wants to be the star of the show 7 days a week, right? So, yeah, he's always going to do stuff that's going to make him center stage. It's a one-man act, and here we are. And so, but to me, Chuck, I keep thinking about this too, which is at some point you have to think that the tariffs are going to start pinching, right? At some point.
They are now. I mean, there's these little anecdotes. I mean, I've had my own personal anecdotes. I buy all my chicken at Trader Joe's. They don't offer it in 4-packs. It's now 3-packs for the same price for chicken thighs. Shrinkflation. Right. I was at the DFW airport earlier this week, and I'm ordering a couple of eggs, and the guy says, "Sorry, hey, the price changed. We charge $6 an egg right now. We have a $6 surcharge on eggs." And he says, "My boss says we lose money if we charge the price that's on the menu." And you're sitting there going, and the fact is, you're already getting gouged at an airport, so the gouge of the gouge is there, and so I know nobody's shocked when you're gouged at an airport, but these are these little things. You see it all over the grocery store. Everything's gone up. Every streaming service has raised their price in the last 90 days.
Too.
Power bills are higher. Everything is higher. I don't know how he can. That's something you can't distract away from.
Right. But, Trump it's interesting for all the damage he did to Biden on inflation, his fascination with the word groceries being one of my favorite examples of that. There's this new word called groceries. Everybody's saying it. It's like an old fashioned word, groceries. Trump cares more about the stock market than the price of goods, right?
Because I had Steve Moore was my guest this week on Newsfeed.
That's Trump's
and he
measure.
said, Steve Moore said the only thing that he will react that the cheap advisor is not a person, it's the market.
I've said this a 1,000 times. Trump is moved by two things, and they're interconnected: press coverage and the markets. Those are the institutional forces that check Trump. It's not anything else, right? And he does care about the markets, and so this is why he's so consumed with getting Jay Powell to lower interest rates because he knows that what will happen is what we saw Friday when Powell hinted in his speech in Jackson Hole that it's time to bring down rates in September. Oh my gosh, right? The market zooms. And so Trump is just dying to bring down interest rates because he cares entirely about moving the market north.
Well, as Steve Moore told me, you know why he wants to bring down interest rates? Because he's a real estate guy. I found it fascinating that a Trump defender, and Steve Moore is a Trump defender, is somebody that can't ignore the reality, which is, well, he thinks of everything like he does his real estate business. And how do you refinance debt? You do it at a lower interest rate.
But I mean, I feel like you're right. The elephant in the room as we get closer to 26 is the cost of goods. I just think it's what was so devastating to Biden. I think it's still out there. And for all of the sort of bread and circus, if you will, that Trump puts on every day, if people are paying more and the economy is not in good shape, that's going to be a problem.
No, it seems that's something he can't totally erase away with his showmanship. But let's talk about the John Bolton thing here a minute, because I want to connect it to something else that also happened this week, which is the Trump administration will use the government to try to impact elections. I know you pay attention a lot to Virginia,
regularly. Yeah.
Right. Look at the Justice Department is suddenly deciding to target Fairfax County and Arlington County schools. Right. Geez, what's going? Is there an election coming up in 60 to 90 days? Yeah.
There is.
And you and I see the John Bolton thing. In the fall of 26, if Democrats look like they're poised to pick up Senate seats and win the House, I wouldn't want to be a nominee in a swing state, because I have a feeling I might have a IRS investigation, maybe an FBI investigation. You know, all you have to do is announce something. They may not I don't think there's not going to be a grand jury with John Bolton. I bet you what we saw Friday is the sum of the parts on that one, because there's probably no there. And yet it was the point was to create the headline. Right. And so no matter what, you Google John Bolton FBI raid. And that's all Donald Trump wants.
I couldn't agree more.
We're going to see this in 26.
The Texas redraw is only the beginning. Yep. And not the beginning of reapportionment play, although it's certainly the beginning of that. And that's going to be a mess for the next 6 to 8 months. It's the beginning of Trump's campaign to avoid a third impeachment. He's consumed with not being impeached for a third time. He will do whatever it takes to keep the House. That starts with, you're right, trying to grab more seats through a mid-decade redraw. Right. But I think you're right. I think next summer and fall, if there are districts where you got to go into and you sort of, damage an incumbent or damage a challenger, absolutely, whatever.
Mortgage fraud. And by the way, mortgage fraud. Hey, look, mortgage fraud. What are you talking about? Right. And then you have to read the details. I don't think it's mortgage fraud, but the headline is the headline, right? Like, it's coming.
And Chuck, what's to say that even after the election, if there's a contested result or California's taken a long time, like it sometimes can, what's to say that you wouldn't just tell Mike Johnson, don't seat those folks,
Right. Don't adjourn.
It's all the election. Yeah.
Or how about don't adjourn if he tries that?
Sure. Don't start the new Congress. No, absolutely. Right. I mean, we live in an environment where all of this is totally plausible. I think we have to, accept that.